Intergenerational trauma is caused by policies the government put into practice through legislation, which has been happening now for over 100 years. This legislation promotes assimilation. Assimilation is the act of eliminating indigenous perspectives and culture to essentially make them like the average population. Assimilation was intended to take the indigenous out of the indigenous people and integrate them into society as a whole. Residential schools and the 60s scoop furthered assimilation along. Colonization refers to a time when the pioneers came over from Europe and settled on indigenous lands. From there, colonization led to assimilation. Residential schools were in operation as early as the late 1800s. These schools were special boarding schools that were started to assimilate in the indigenous community. Children as young as 6 years old were taken from their parents and put into Indian residential schools. They were kept from their parents for months or years at a time. As a result of this lengthy separation, children lost their language, culture, and spirituality. Additionally, the children in the residential schools also lost their sense of family and belonging to a community and indigenous nation. The residential schools had abuses happen regularly, abuses such as sexual abuse. The 60s scoop refers to a time when indigenous children were taken from their biological parents by child welfare services and placed into non-indigenous homes. Some of these homes that were meant to be better or safer actually were places where abuse happened as well. Not to mention that not having exposure to their culture had an outcome for indigenous children that paralleled the effects of residential schools for generations before, where the individual loses their indigenous culture.